question I want to ask each of you is we've got a group of builders here, which by the show of hands earlier, not many of them are dabbling in this yet. So the question is, where would you tell them to start? It may feel overwhelming to say, okay, I'm going to now build an entire house that is prefab. Is there ways to kind of partially get into this, to build part of the home using some of this? What is it that can get them some exposure and some comfort level and maybe start getting some of their trade partners some more experience with this? So who'd like to start off?
Go ahead.
Where you start is at forums like this, where you're interested and you come and learn a little bit about it. You check out people's websites and call those companies, talk to their sales representatives, ask questions. Get some sort of a foundation. Where you want to go, what you want to achieve, and I think you just have to go for it. Doing like half a house with SIPs and half a house not is not the way to do it. I think you just have to try one. Get in there, do it. You don't have to change everything. You don't have to change your whole company philosophy and methodology. Just try one and see how it goes. Give it a chance. Sometimes, there is a bit of a learning curve, but if you can get through that first one and recognize the benefits and try and think of what you could do to improve some of the things that held you up along the way, the second house is always about twice as easy.
Do you agree, Jason? Is it kind of all or nothing?
It's a tough one. That's a tough one. I mean, with the Vantum system, I'll explain that. But I would think in general in SIPs, you could go build a she shed. If you want to understand how the components screw together. How you're applying the process of putting it together. But I think the real way to get into it on a normal SIP, not a Vantum, and I'll explain why. But a normal solution would be find somebody who's doing it now successfully. But I think you're right at the first table, and I didn't get your name, but it's all about training and understanding the kinks of it, right? There's always a facet to a trade when you have experience doing something. You know how to do it the first, the second, the third time. It gets easier. So I would probably tap into one of their current builders that's doing it successfully. Maybe you can shadow them on a site and kind of learn and do a case study analysis and kind of understand it, and then I think you're right. You got to just do one. You got to do a house. The Vantum solution, we're a little different. If you're building 350 homes a year, reach out to me. I'll build you a factory and provide your product. That's what we look for as a developer and builder. We're looking for the throughput. We'll stand up the factory. We'll provide the product. We'll train. We'll help, and we'll be involved. That's where the Vantum model is a little different than what we're doing in the U.S. We're looking aggressively for builders that have the supply need. We'll stand the factory up, put in a 50% partnership with that builder who could do a take or pay order with us.
Ken, thoughts on how to start getting into it?
So there's been a recent trend in the industry for home builders to open up warehouses and stock some building materials because they lost faith in the supply chain to support them. And so you're going to be part of the batch and flow process of the flow of materials, which I think is a really good idea and a really bad idea, both at the same time. A really bad idea because I think that the core competencies of home builders is not managing materials and warehousing, inventory management, last mile deliveries to job sites, et cetera. So I think that there's a lot of opportunities for failure in that area. But I think it's a really good idea because it shows a builder's willingness to invest money in helping to improve the supply chain. And in panels is a very difficult thing to dip your toe into. I think you're both feet in or both feet out, and because this is what happens. This is what happened to some of the builders that I worked for. So we tried it. That's the word we use. We tried it. We didn't really, but we said we tried it. So what we did is we said, someone sold us on, hey, these panels are going to be great. It's going to shorten up your cycle time. It's going to reduce waste like you wouldn't believe. This is going to be a boon to your quality. This is going to be great. You can market this. Whole deal. And so we went in, we got started, we did a few houses, and it cost us a lot more money than a stick framing would cost. And then we had trouble justifying why we were going to spend all this extra money. Is the quality better? Yeah. Is the availability good? Yeah, it was good. Yeah, everything was good. But when it comes down to it, it's really tough to justify additional dollars. So I have recently seen a video of a builder who I've been sworn to secrecy, so I can't tell you who they are, nor much details about it. But they just framed a house, two-story house, with windows, insulation, and house wrap, including the roof sheeted and waterproofed, in 12 hours. 12 hours, start to finish. Now, they spent a lot of money doing it, and they know that they spent a lot of money doing that. But now that they have that process in place, now they're going to start refining it and getting that cost down. And part of the cost, which I'd love to hear you guys talk about today, is transportation. How to get that panel from where you make it to the job site. Because trucks and truck drivers' costs are just way out of hand right now, in addition to availability. But these builders know. Oh, by the way, the builder who swore me to secrecy, what I didn't tell him is that 5 other builders. So I now have 6 builders that have sworn me to secrecy that they're building houses with panels. I'm not sure why it's a secret, but they're pretty proud of what they're doing, and they're very excited about the opportunity to increase the capacity of the people who are building the houses. Someone mentioned trade labor as an obstacle. I agree with you. I have had wall panels and brought onto the job site, and the guys who are installing them were charging the builder the same price as if they were stick framing, which means you've got the wrong guys installing the panels, right? So you can install these panels with non-skilled labor, which cost a lot less than skilled labor, and so that's something that we had to get. That's an obstacle we had to overcome at our company too.
Okay, so to summarize, it's not that you can start building just part of a house with these, but perhaps, and I like the she shed idea, is maybe start doing some smaller projects. Say, we want to learn and to build some competency in this particular area. Maybe it's just a small demos, maybe it's just a small look for an opportunity to partner with a nonprofit like Habitat in your area, and whether it's a small 1,200 square foot home.
It's a different process. It takes more thinking up front, but it's a simplified process on site, which is where it matters, because that's where the skilled trades just aren't there anymore. And look, when 2030 energy codes hit, everybody out there framing the stickway is going to have to figure out how to meet those energy codes. Our system already is beyond the 2030 energy code, so we can heat and cool these things on a dime. I think there's a reckoning in the way we construct and build in the U.S. I construct and build and design all over the world. And we're finally getting to a point in the U.S. now where there's a lot of factors that are driving a lot of the big builders. I mean, Pulte and Toll have been doing it for a long time. They were very close to going volumetric in the 80s, right? They were nailing out 5,000 home developments through panelization. They were cutting edge. They really were, those two groups. So.
And for those who may not be familiar, when you use the term volumetric, what does that mean?
We'll get that on our
but I think you can give us a sneak preview
So
now.
going beyond panels, where we take the panels and we now create an envelope, an airtight envelope, a 6-sided volumetric box, up to 16 foot wide in most states, 76 feet long in most states. That's where the real value comes, and that's where the industry is going. It'll take longer to get that. If you look at a McKinsey study, panels and off-site materials will grow at a much larger market share simply because of the complexity. It's much easier to put panels together. It is much harder to put a 6-sided box together, inspect it off-site. We build hotels, we build Marriott hotels, we build apartments, we build townhomes in Vail, Colorado, and California, in Miami, so we can handle wind codes, earthquake codes. We can do all of that, but the next level above and beyond panels is taking that and now building boxes, where you're taking more trades away from on-site and into a factory. So that's where it eventually will go. It's just a matter of time and adoption.
So we'll see some pictures of the volumetric this afternoon at lunch, but that instead of just little wall segments, you're literally building a long cube, and then you're building larger buildings, stacking those cubes that are designed to kind of fit together almost like Legos.